Whenever I write to her, to you, I feel present, as though wherever I stood became the center of the universe, which would seem to me, or seem to many, to make me self-centered. But in reality, it doesn't compromise anyone else, unless that person's ignorant. With you, I feel secure, as though you already know what the universe is made out of. You don't need me to explain it to you in a rationalized way. I can just talk about it, and we can both enjoy the paradox. That is to say, that with you, I'm not afraid of the contradictions because I don't feel like I'll need to account for them. In fact, you'd prefer that I wouldn't. The contradictions can be contradictions. They're gradations in our experience. And there are certain things I know I can bring up with you and feel safe and secure because you will not exploit them just to prove that you have a point. Just to prove your self-entitlement. As though you felt that your opinion were as much value as mine, yet that to prove this is more important than anything that I might have to say. In other words, you don't level with me in that way, in that false, self-entitled way. Just to try to assert your own autonomy for its own sake. For you, the truth is not just something of ubiquitous and available to everyone, to be torn apart to pieces as one so chooses. The truth is something personal. You know that some things are difficult for me to talk about. And really, why else would I be afraid of paradox? If not the crippling bondage of being unable to safely speak about something which is contradictory without having to face violence for that intrinsic contradiction, which is not my fault. It's not my fault that there are certain things that I can talk about with Andrew only at certain times, and that at other times I just can't bear to hear anyone's opinion on them because I already know that this person that I'm speaking with hasn't been through what I've been through. And if he's trying to contradict me in a way, what he has to say doesn't matter at all. See, you would respect that because you'd understand the primacy of your experience and you'd respect mine, and you wouldn't let someone trivialize that just to prove that he's right. You wouldn't do that because you'd recognize those instances in which I'm insecure about something and I don't want to confront it, and you distinguish those from instances where, in fact, I'm courageous enough to trust you with this information. And you'd respect that enough not to violate that trust. You'd also know when I can really contribute to something that you've already found out, or to dispossess you of an illusion, as opposed to when I'm simply possessed of my own illusions. But you see, it's this fear of being totally open with a person, conditioned by harsh judgments, self-entitled judgments, neurotic judgments. That is the reason that one can't be totally honest and transparent all the time. It cannot allow for the contradictions, cannot allow for the paradoxes. And oftentimes, it's the very fact that it's a paradox itself, the very fact that our experiences are so complicated, and one person's relationship towards a given set of facts is totally distinct from someone else's. It's the very fact that that is intolerable to judgmental and self-entitled people that is the reason that we hide them. We don't want to have to explain all of those gradations, to be held accountable for all of those contradictions. For even a kind of hierarchy, yet not one wherein I am greater and therefore more entitled, but wherein my suffering is greater and more important than just a matter of opinion. More important than even a matter of democratic opinion and democracy. You understand. And so with you, I don't have to be afraid. I can say whatever I need to say, even if I've forbidden someone else to talk about it, even if I've forbidden you to talk about it, even if I've sworn not to talk about it in my own right, I can be free of all of those constraints and to just deliver the truth. Because I'm not afraid anymore of your judgments. I know that they'll be fair. And I know that you'll allow for all those contradictions, because without my needing to explain them, you'll see them too. Whether it's contradictions between different claims, or contradictions between what I said before and what I'm saying now, or maybe even contradictions between how I treat myself and how I treat you. You're generous towards that, because you can trust me as well. And someone who has not been here, where we are, at the center of the universe, as two sovereign centers of the universe, has never really communicated or matured. And so these people compel me to block myself, compel me to hide myself, because they're so used to people hiding, and they're so used to hiding themselves, even hiding themselves from themselves, and being all too unvigilant of their own contradictions and their own put-downs on people. These people are ignorant, but you are not. You are just open. You're not entitled towards things making sense. You don't feel entitled to the truth or towards your own opinion. You just trust what you know. And you can listen to what someone else knows. And I can't tell you how amazing it is to find that, to reread what I've written to you. And to see those things which I'd been afraid to talk about, for fear of contradicting myself, for fear of stumbling upon an intrinsic contradiction, and seeing that it flows so easily, because I know that my audience can receive it. So thank you.